This is what we've accomplished in the school food forest as beginners in 6 months. We're gonna start with the lasagna bed. We've got all kinds of herb here. We've got cilantro. We got a good singular harvest out of this, but it is summer after all, so you can only get like one good harvest and then it goes straight to flowering. Over here, we have thyme, which is absolutely humongous. We have actually not harvested the thyme ever at all, but I just really like looking at it because it's like growing well. The lasagna bed does a really good job of holding in the moisture even in the summer heat. It feels like the plants like perfectly regulate themselves and never wilt or anything. We've got a bunch of baby oreganos on this side, and then we've got some sage plants that seem to be doing well. Over here, this is just one of our few Egyptian walking onions. This is what eventually falls over and grows into another Egyptian onion. Over here, more mixes of Egyptian onions and green onion. Do you see this hole? This is where a gopher stole an Egyptian walking onion from us. He started pulling it under, and then I moved it over here hoping that it would continue to grow. More thyme, more sage. We also have some chives. Okay, the chives are really sad. My mom was like, yo, that's way too many chives when I had like a mini 4x4. And it's like, they all died except for like 4, 5, 6 of them.
Dang.
I'm a little concerned. Yeah, this green onion's huge. Look at that girth on it. It's like a 1 to 2 inch girth on that. Like, I can wrap my hands around it. The way that's tilted over like this makes me feel like the gopher is already under it. But let's pray not. I'm kind of excited about this one because this is our mulberry sapling.
It's cute.
Yeah, it might just break off, but it's the only one that had leaves that actually sprouted. I should have started all our little cuttings in this lasagna bed. This is like the place for these. Over here, we've got some parsley.
Ooh.
I don't know what to say about parsley. I'm not a big eater, but look, success. We grew it. I call this area the sun drop zone. And it's basically all natives except for that squash and green beans patch. They kind of look a little diseased, and honestly, some of the green beans are dying. It might just be the heat stress or something with the clay soil. Look, there's a squash over there.
Oh my gosh.
She's nice and yellow. Ooh, damn. Right along here, we've got ourselves monkey flower, monkey flower.
What's monkey flower?
It's a native plant. It has like these cute little orange flowers. When they're blooming, if you touch the little inside thing, it like closes up. We have a few little penstemons that are doing well. The guy who gave it to us, it was supposed to be a seed packet of just the penstemons, and then all this other stuff started popping through too, but the more the merrier, I guess. If you caught our last garden tour from 3 months ago, you would have seen one sun drop that's bloomed, and now they're all blooming. We planted some stuff outside of the fence over here. We've got just some toyon berries. There's supposedly this legend, like people saw the red berries of the toyons and thought, oh, that must be holly, but no, it's actually a toyon berry. But then they saw all the toyons around and they were like, oh, hollies. So Hollywood for this area. We also have a big berry manzanita. Put them down there because they're supposed to get pretty big. Moving on over here. This is the milkweed patch. There used to be 18 milkweeds. Now we're down to about, what?
Oh my gosh, someone's eating paper. I don't know, it's being very vicious though. Wait, it disappeared. Wait. Let's go see what it is, Andrew. Comment down below what you think it is.
They really did eat the cardboard. I think it was a rabbit.
Rabbit?
We have all kinds of stuff going on in this garden since we let the animals run wild. I don't know what all these noises are. They really do come out like during this evening time. My goodness, look, they tore up this thing. I saw it in the distance. It literally had like a huge chunk in its mouth. And it just like ran off.
I don't think a rabbit really uses its hands like that. I feel like that's squirrel activities.
No, but I heard recently that they do like grip stuff.
Really?
I heard that they pick leaves off of like things. Supposedly there's like videos of them doing it.
I hear it.
We have no chance against...
Oh, that was a squirrel! That was a squirrel! We were both right!
There's the cardboard.
Oh my gosh.
There's the evidence. They were taking it for something. This is where we have our milkweeds. There used to be 18. The gopher took 8 of them. But if you come a little closer and look at this one, we have a special guest. I didn't know that we would ever even have one. But...
Oh my god.
There. I didn't even know this is big enough for them because these plants are like less than a year old. They're really just like 3 or 4 months old. We're saving the monarch caterpillars. There's another one.
Wait. There's another one. one.
Oh my goodness. I don't know if each plant is even like enough for them, but hopefully, because usually they like need a whole bunch of them, but maybe one per is good enough because they're like voracious eaters is what they say. But they seem to be getting along just fine. And I know that the butterfly mothers, they taste the plant to know if it's like good for their baby. So I assume they also kind of survey the area and see like, oh, is there enough food for my babies? Well, we still got that bubblegum plant from last time. She started getting eaten into. I have saved it so far, but I've surrounded it with the dead mustard weed. That seems to be a pretty good deterrent. Right down here, 3 aloe plants that we kind of tried to put in, but I did them kind of messily and kind of shallowly because I just wanted to get out of here, and they're from my parents' garden, but they're dying. Over here, you're looking at that native zone that we saw the other time. White hedge nettle has gotten bigger. Fuchsia flowered currant has gotten bigger. The hummingbird sage has gotten bigger. One of them even started a flower. I had to pluck off the flower though because I wanted to focus on spreading its roots. We also put in a bunch of longleaf bush lupin. They're doing pretty good. All 13 of them are still alive. I think the sage is protecting them because gophers don't like the scent of sage, but gophers are also pretty notorious of getting to you right when your hopes are up. Supposedly, they're like the one animal that practices gardening in a way. It like eats some of the roots, but not all the roots, and then like waits for it to grow back and comes back. Gardening under the ground, but there's no evidence of them like purposely planting the seeds themselves. We've also got honeysuckle, elegant Clarkia that was probably pretty beautiful the other time. It had these beautiful purple flowers. Now it's going to seed. Sticky cinquefoil, it's dried out and brown. I still water it, but I know it's dead. Along the fence, we have 5 gooseberry plants. You would think they're like pest proof or something, but like within the first week or 2, they were all eaten. So I think only 2 are still alive, maybe even just 1. Raquel was getting pretty surprised at this earlier. She was like, oh my goodness, you actually marked plants. Yeah, we did because
there's no words on them though.
We wanted to make sure. Yeah, we just put down the tags to mark the plants. We just didn't want people pulling out the plants on accident instead of the weeds around them.
Kind of confusing, not gonna lie.
But they stay pretty close. You see the tag is right next to this dead buckwheat plant.
Oh.
And then this tag is right next to this dead monkey flower. Wait, the monkey flower's from right here. What is this? Oh no, this one marks the dying grass. They've seen better days, you know? It's the summer heat. What are we supposed to do? We're trying our best out here. We added a penstemon. Buckwheat, we are just really struggling with the buckwheat. I do not know how to get that native buckwheat going. I think I messed up by bottom watering it before transplanting it, and its feet got all wet and started rotting. Like, I thought you were supposed to like drown that hoe like that one lady does with her cactus. She's drowned. She drowned and died, that's for sure. We've added coastal sage scrub, another big berry manzanita, some more purple needle grass up there. We added some ryegrass. We have 4 of the Asclepias tuberosas, and then this one is the narrow leaf milkweed. Our hose was just leaking over here, so we wanted to use that wet ground, but I didn't know what goes well with wet ground, so I planted a bunch of potatoes from the grocery store, and supposedly that's not good to plant because they're not always healthy and can put soil disease in your ground that lasts like ages. Gopher's favorite food might be potatoes also, so maybe it got to all 20 of the potatoes we put in there.
20.
Or there were also a bunch of slugs, and you know, if it stays super wet, it might have just decomposed all the potatoes. It's either really lush, nice and moist soil, or it's diseased. Oh my goodness, there's an aphid infestation on this. I have never gotten an aphid infestation before on any plant. I honestly thought it was kind of pretty from afar. It kind of looks like orange little like flowers. But this is also the narrow leaf milkweed. We have total 13 milkweeds. We have 2 sad little squash plants along here. I don't think they're ever gonna produce, but I keep them alive because, you know, maybe they'll pull through. These squash are troopers. They're from our very first seeds we ever sowed back during Club Rush. We transplanted it into a slightly bigger pot from the original cell that some naive little club member that never returned to the garden put in. We eventually brought it out here, and it's been stumped ever since. If these are your squash, please come save your babies. We have garden beds, guys. I know I don't make it super obvious because I always plant in the ground, but we do indeed have them. If you notice something different, The garlic, we harvested it. If you watched the other video, we did a little bit of an experiment to see like what different soil conditions versus growing times versus the size of the cloves, what that resulted in, how much compost to give it, worm castings or not. So if you want to check that out, wow.
Click it guys.
Oh, click it.
Click it.
We've got beetroots growing in here. If you look a little closer, you can actually see some of the beetroot popping out of that big one over there. I planted some beans around it, like soybeans and some jade bush beans. Over here, this lettuce got eaten by a rabbit. It eventually grew back into the leaves, but it went straight to seeding. It's not quite the normal way people would do their lettuce, because we're kind of growing it for the seed, but maybe that's a good thing so we can have an actual patch. Over here, I planted peppers with carrots and alfalfa. Supposedly, carrot is a companion plant with peppers. I don't know, one YouTuber did it. I did it out of chance, and they seem to be doing well. The alfalfa kind of blocks out the sun, but also like in a good way, it keeps things from getting too hot and from too much moisture evaporating out. Over here, you will see nothing growing.
Ooh.
Wow. But yeah, we planted Mexican mint marigold into here and strawberries. That's where I saw the yellow snake crawl off when I was turning off the irrigation the other time. Over here we've got calendula growing. Oh, and some tumbleweeds. Did you guys know that that's what a tumbleweed looks like when it's young? This basil's actually doing great. I'm just worried that it'll die because if it got underwatered or something, but it's actually doing magnificently. Compared to the ones that I started in my own pot, I was like 3 perfect little ones to grow into a humongous bush. Some bug like ate all of the entire leaves. You'll see like a leaf that looks like this with like a hole just like right there. But these, for some reason, nothing is getting to these. It might be actually time to pinch them again. Oh my goodness.
Pinch them.
Yeah, pinch them every once in a while, because each branch, when it grows like that, you could just have it grow vertically. But if you pinch it right above another leaf, the leaf turns into 2 branches. You can infinitely do that, and then you get this humongous plant. That's my dream. Over here, I planted like celery and its companion plants. I got the seeds from like a seed library at an Earth Day event. Most of the seeds were duds, except for these 2, and I don't even know what these plants are because I just don't. It might be celery, it might be something else. And this one, we've got borage going. It's dying back right now because this is an annual. Over here we have 2 jade bush beans, but I haven't seen any of the bush beans.
What's going on with the plastic bottle?
That's where we tried starting a strawberry and gave it a little humidity dome, but I think maybe it got too hot, killed the seed or burned it. That's probably what happened actually. There's no maybe. That would probably work during the winter or like the spring when it's more like mild. Over here we have onions. They need to be harvested. But also, I think something lives in here. We had a mouse once upon a time, and every time I would come here and water it, I would see the mouse go and then run away. In this one, soybeans and jade bush beans in here. We combined the basil because we had a few extra sprouts and we didn't want them to die because, you know, every plant means something because at any moment one could die. Parts.
So sad.
I know.
Morbid.
That's what it is to be a gardener. That's why I don't really expect to get good harvests. I'm just more for the experience of like, oh, what grows well, what doesn't grow good. Over here we planted asparagus. They have not come up yet. We did asparagus in here and that one came up. We also have Mexican mint marigold and some mystery poppy going on in here. But that poppy in there, we did not put that in there, and I didn't even know pink California poppies existed. Welcome to the corn patch, guys. I need to stop with the bad news. I was gonna immediately go, if you look at that black one, that one's diseased and dying, but it literally still is producing the hairs and the flowers. They're just all tinged with a bit of black. I thought it was rot or like a fungus infection, but like what kind of fungus infection keeps the entire corn plant alive, lets it go to flower, and lets it produce fruit? You would think the corn forms at the top, right? Mm-hmm. The corn does not form at the top. The corn is like down here and its hairs stick out. The hairs are actually what catches the pollen. So the flower's at the top, and for some reason, wind or whatever like shakes down the pollen onto the hairs, and that's what pollinates your corn. Right over here, we got some, it's either a zucchini squash or a pumpkin, because we planted all of those at the same time. We planted some watermelons back there, but they didn't come up, and the ones that I started at home, special treatment, I water those every day. They didn't come up either. I think the eBay scammed us. Do not buy from Seed Time Forever. Right here, we have a tomato. This one, you can see it's like completely random because it grew on its own there. I do not know how the seed came in. We're just really fortunate to like get this growing. Damn, Shadi, how are you gonna get fertilized if your leaf is blocking your dang thing?
His dang thing.
Yeah, his dang gonads or whatever. This is proof that some kind of like rabbit or something jump onto the plant, break it like 4 feet tall, noms it right there. This is the flower, all dried up. So, you know, the rabbit ate good tonight. The grounds people, they like mow down all the greenery along the school. So I think like that's just like starves them and attracts them to our garden because our garden has stuff that the animals can hide in. It really is a refuge for them. With everything that's taken from us, you can kind of feel good that it's like, oh, you're helping another animal.
Why is that one covered in ants though?
They're all kind of covered in ants. Henry the sunflower, the only surviving sunflower of every single one that was planted at Club Rush. I am 5'11" or something. Henry's got to be at least like 7 foot tall.
Yeah. 7'2" maybe.
When you saw Travis Kelce, was he much taller than you?
he's like 6'5".
Oh, okay. So this is probably taller than Travis Kelce.
Yeah.
I think at the last tour, I pointed out how there were poppies and cilantro all along here, but there's no more poppies and cilantro. They came up, they were beautiful, they covered the whole thing, and then the gopher ate all of it. So our gophers are really healthy here, and we definitely have a family. Over here we have, dang, she's so like lush looking. This is our purple willow, Salix purpurea or something. Golden willow. I hope it survives despite the constant eating. It got de-leafed, came back a little bit, got de-leafed again, came back a little bit more. It probably got de-leafed just a little bit more because those rabbits are ferocious, they do not care. And then I put the little mustard around it because like trying to trick them, you know, throw off their scent. I kind of think of this as like Snake Scary Hill because this is where the snakes would be. They like kind of just crawl across and along through here. But we got some good stuff growing along here. Squash is doing really well. I feel like the squash or the pumpkin or whatever, it's actually more tolerant of like clay heavy soils, even if it has rocks in it. She did like loosen it up this time, but if you look at this pumpkin over here, it did not have any of that loosening. It was kind of just like she dug a hole, put the seed, put a little bit of compost, like no more than this much. And then look at how big it grew. It used to have a brother, but then the gopher went under it. But look, there's a pumpkin. It's been self-sacrificing all its other flowers and pumpkins to produce this one.
He's huge.
We got tomatoes. Those are all indigo. No, only a few are indigo blue chocolate, and some also got taken by the gopher. But okay, let's stop talking about the gopher. The gopher has taken a little bit of everything. Just know that. Every single plant I talk about.
Gopher trauma.
Yeah, the gopher had a buffet time and took some of them, and these are the ones that survived. So tomatoes over there, a mix of my grandpa's tomato seeds and indigo blue chocolate. Beautiful cherry, dark, black, purplish looking tomatoes. Peppers. Damn, she pretty. Oh, these peppers I got from the Cottonwood Urban Farm. They gifted these to me. Over here I planted some more tomatoes. I believe they're indigo blue chocolate. I transplanted them out pretty early. They were like only this tall and it was like summer heat and everything, and they did fine. Over here we got scarlet runner bean, a perennial bean, you know, building that longevity. Those things come back year after year. I tried to do the fortress. It seems to be helping some of them, but it hasn't helped some of the other ones. In another area over there we also had the fortress. Some animal was smart enough to pull out the forks. Isn't she beautiful? Look at all that greenery. All of this plant right here, weeds. Prostrate pigweed, which is edible, but I have not eaten her yet. Look at these calendula flowers. For some reason, the seeds sprout up even when it only gets watered like once or twice a week. They came up despite the dryness. More runner beans along there. We used to have tomatoes along that fence, all indigo blue chocolate. They've been taken, but you know, we love them for that. Our bubblegum plant has come back. Having all the weeds grow around the bubblegum plant has actually saved it, I think. And I don't know what this one is, but it's like coupled with this plant here. It might be fennel, it might be dill, but it also doesn't look like that. If you know what those two are, that could be a science-based companion plant right there. Those two just like love each other. More pumpkin squash. More pumpkin squash, more pumpkin squash, more pumpkin squash, tomatoes, tomato, beans, beans and fortress. Also, I heard that with squash, when you water it, they actually wilt like the day after because the water kind of like blocks out the oxygen to the roots. So they're kind of like different from other plants where like the day after it'll be like, oh, water and flourishing. They're kind of like, oh, water, too much water. I planted a sunflower along the outskirts, and then the grounds people came in with their weed whackers and they took out though.
Oh.
The yarrow's gone, the desert marigold is gone, some kind of salvia leucophilix is gone, this salvia is doing well, that penstemon is doing well. Penstemons are gopher proof, I'll tell you that for now. I might go back on my word later.
You totally just jinxed it.
Bay in time from the other time. I don't know if the thyme is actually doing worse in this full sun, but it kind of looks like it's doing worse. Greenhouse. There's nothing in here because it heats up to like 110 degrees, except for one plant, our shampoo ginger. We had other kinds of like weeds growing in here. There was a humongous nightshade plant that grew right here that I thought was the shampoo ginger. So then I was like, what could be the problem? And you know, most of the time the problem is like, you're not watering it enough. So I started watering it twice a week and all the ginger is coming up now. We might need to move it outside eventually, but for now it gets a good humidity by being in there. Gosh, you really can't get enough surfaces when you become a gardener and starting seeds. We've got blue elderberry, we've got Palestinian sweet limes, we've got persimmon cuttings that are not doing well, we've got calendula, we've got coffee berry, we've got yerba something, we've got a bunch of monkey flowers, we've got a bunch of tomato seedlings, we've got dudleyas that we're trying to save but might not be saving, we got a whole penstemon, we got peppers, we got toyon berries, we got basil, walking onions that maybe shouldn't have been put into these pots but they were. Experimental. Progress on her? On Miss Her? Look, you can still see the original heart, but she's now got 3 new little babies that have come up. Was this here the last time? I'm remembering now. It was like that morning that I had just started this and I planted it with poppies. No more poppies, guys. I don't think it was getting enough sunlight to have them germinate. Instead, we went in, planted chicory along the outside and fennel along the outside, a few dills, and then inside we put asparagus and lettuce. We added around the little barrier to rabbit-proof it a little bit. Our final table. We made it to the end, guys. We did it! Under here, we're like storing some coffee grounds. The natives are doing, some of these are surprising me because I do not know what plant got in here and it's just like sprouting and doing well. This one's a vervain, this one's a Mexican sage scrub. Not a native, but you know it grows well here. Coyote brush, tobacco, some kind of strawberry. I'm like surprised because I put like golden currant sticks in and then all of a sudden a strawberry seed sprouted. Our trailing dewberry, which is supposed to be like a blackberry, I think, that's native to California, not coming up or anything. This is like what the rabbit like wasn't able to eat of the Trichostemma Midnight Magic bubblegum smelling plant from over there. I saved it. Now we have 3 mini plants going. Over here is mule fat. We also got some sage here. For black sage at least, if you do it from cuttings, I would do it straight into the ground because my parents have it and theirs got like this big. Well, mine's is literally just that big still. Over here is a yarrow that I tried saving because the gopher was already taking like bits from both sides, but now she's crispy. So maybe I should have just let the gopher take her. Over here is Jerusalem artichoke. I think it's like some kind of North American native potato. Our mock vervain and our sacred datura. It's a native moonflower. I heard that indigenous tribes ate it to get visions, but there's like some pretty crazy side effects also, so use at your own discretion. We got another vervain coming up here. This one's the one that I tore down because we were gonna put a worm bin here before we learned we couldn't compost. This is where a yarrow was. That's where a yarrow was. The yarrow's gone. We replaced it with the dudleya. The dudleya's gone. Taken by the gopher in the same hole. Do not replant into a gopher hole. The gopher comes back through that hole. Over here, 2 more dudleyas. I didn't even know they could dry out, but they're drying out and dying. They're literally succulents. We did it! Camera will be revealed. Thank you guys for watching. See ya!